I call to order the Riverview Community School District Board of Education regular meeting for November 25th, 2024. Secretary Walker, roll call, please.
President Bohr.
Here.
Vice President Dubinski.
Here.
Secretary Walker here. Treasurer Davis.
Here.
Trustee Meeks.
Here.
Trustee O'Brien.
Here.
Trustee Toth.
Here.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. We'll start off with tonight Superintendent Hatzel and Athletic Director DeBrano with our fall athletic accomplishments.
Mr. DeBrano's here to do some announcement, but I first and foremost wanted to congratulate all of our fall athletes, those of you being recognized here tonight, as well as those of you at home who had some fantastic seasons in maroon and gold, and just continue to impress us as an administrative team and continue to be a beaming light of Pirate Pride to the community. So thank you all, if you're here tonight or not. But I'll turn it over to you, Derek.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome everybody tonight. It's always a great event when we can showcase our student athletes, and we're going to do so. We have 3 different teams here tonight, or members of the teams. But first, we're going to start out. We've had some vacancies within our athletic department and coaching staff, and so I want to introduce 3 brand new varsity head coaches that I know are going to do a tremendous job with our student athletes and continue to grow our programs the way that we want them to grow. The first person I'm going to introduce is going to be Adriana Singleton. You can come on. Adriana is a RCHS class of 2020 graduate. She is currently working as a paraprofessional at Seats Middle School. She competed at Seats at RCHS as well as at Wayne State, and she has a long list of a coaching background for cheerleading, and she is going to be our new competitive cheer and sideline cheer coach. So thank you, Adriana. Next, we have Kirsten Lozelle. Kirsten is an RCHS class of 2014 grad. She is working at Wyandotte Schools as an occupational therapist. She played at RCHS. She played at Adrian College. She was a senior captain, just a great person to be around our student athletes, and she will be taking over as our girls varsity soccer coach this spring. So we're very excited to have her on staff. Kirsten Lozelle. Last but not least, he is not an RCHS grad, but he brings a lot of spirit, and he wants to join the Maroon and Gold Pirate family, so we're glad to have him. Chris Gajewski. Chris graduated from Notre Dame High School, 3-year varsity baseball letter winner and state champion. Also continued his career at Madonna University for 4 years, has coached at the freshman level, has coached all levels of high school. Most recently was the freshman head coach at Allen Park and head coach for the Michigan Wildcats Travel Organization. We're looking for great things from Chris. He's really excited to be here, and we are excited to have him here. He will be our new varsity boys baseball coach. All right. If you want to stand right. Yeah. Thank you. And thank you. All right. Now to our student athletes. We're going to first start with our swim team, our girls varsity swim team. I'm going to introduce our coach, Ryan Pickell. As well as assistant coach Renee Daniels.
All right, I just want to start by thanking Superintendent Hatzel, President Board, Mr. DeBrano, and the rest of the Review Board of Education up here, as well as extend a warm welcome and return to our new coaches. Excited to see some of you guys again, and looking forward to meeting you for the first time. Just wanted to start by thanking Coach Renee here. This was her first season as assistant coach, but definitely not her first season coaching swimming. She did an awesome job this year, so please give it a round of applause for Coach Renee. I also want to congratulate all of the other fall sports and their accomplishments this year. It was an outstanding, I think, fall season. We can all say that across Riverview for athletics. Just want to say congrats to all the other sports as well. So what I'll do now is I will start by calling up our state qualifiers from the girls swim and dive team this year. The first one I'll call is Mia Senegi. Next is Amelia Zeta. Sophia Reyes. Livia Zeta. Emma Seitz. And Evie Mack. These girls put in a tremendous amount of work throughout the season, whether it's at 6 in the morning in the weight room or after school in the pool. They've been putting in the work all season. The season began on August 12th, and we just finished the state meet on Saturday. So we had our nice day and a half, 2 days off now. And they're all jumping into their next sporting events. So our athletes here qualified in both the 200 and 400-yard freestyle relays at the state meet. Collectively at the state meet, they were the highest placing downriver school in the state competition. And Livia Zeta also qualified in all 4 of the individual freestyle distances. She competed in the longest event, the 500-yard freestyle, as well as the 200-yard freestyle at the state meet. She finished 10th in the 200 free, and she finished 6th in the 500 free, making her the first Riverview boy or girl individual all-state athlete since 1989. So collectively, these girls have had just an awesome season, as well as the rest of their teammates. Runner-up in both the Huron and Smizzle leagues this year for, I believe, the 3rd or 4th year in a row. So continuing to do great work, building that team culture. We've got some seniors graduating here, but we've also got a lot of young talent here, and they work hard. So looking forward to our next few seasons and wishing our seniors the best of luck in their future endeavors. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Ryan. Okay, next I'm going to invite up, Coach Coleman could not be here tonight, and so I do want to call up our freshman state qualifier in girls varsity golf, and that is Delaney Gazdecki. Okay. Delaney had a great season. She finished top 4 freshman at the region and was a state qualifier. She has it was a huge accomplishment. She's got a long career here at Riverview, so we're very happy that she will be here for the next 3 years. So Delaney Gazdecki. All right. And last but not least, I'm going to invite up our boys varsity soccer coach, Ben Zielinski.
All right, last season, laddies. Now, as I started out with that years ago, with a little bit of accent and a little bit of fun. The Riverview boys soccer team had an outstanding season. It has been quite a ride these past 5 years to win 5 straight district championships. And these guys were a part of that program. We couldn't get everybody here today. Basketball, a lot of our soccer players play multiple sports. They've got games today, but we started the year going to Oakland team camp like we do every year, trying to go to a camp or going to a tournament to start. We actually went up to Boyne Mountain this year, spent a weekend up at Boyne Mountain, and played as many tough teams up there as we could and had a great weekend climbing Boyne Mountain or falling down a couple times. We did the water park up there and just had a really good, I love doing team events where we get to go to a destination place like that. It was a special weekend up there. Come back down to the Huron League, and the Huron League was as good as it's been in years. Milan, Grosseal, and Huron all fought and with Riverview for that top spot. And there were times this year, I mean, we lost 93% of our scoring from last year, and yet these guys found a way. To end the season, we went on a run. We found a way to win. We beat some really good teams. Monroe, who had beaten Saline this year, or had a tough game with Saline, played Saline in the regional finals. Monroe also beat Canton or Plymouth Canton. I mean, they just had some great games this year. We were able to beat them 1-0 at home. We went on into districts not as the favorite to win. We ended up winning 6 of our last 7 games, or I think it was 6 wins, 1 loss, and 1 tie. Beat Huron, who if they would have won the Huron League, and we beat them 3-2. Get into Melvindale, and they had an outstanding group. And these guys just found a way to win. For anyone that was at that game, it was 0-0. It was double overtime. We got scored on in the first overtime, and we basically played 2 defenders and 8 attackers after that in that second overtime. And then scored to tie it up 1-1, double overtime shootout victory for us with an incredible crowd there, crazy crowd. And then after that, go on to the district championship and beat a very good Detroit Cesar Chavez team. So proud of these guys. They overachieved. Went on to regionals and then lost 2-1 to Dearborn Divine Child in another just tough game. We took the lead to start the game, and they got 2 on us in the second half there to come back and beat us 2-1. Just so proud of everything they accomplished. I mean, we beat Warren De La Salle twice the last 2 years. Warren De La Salle won the state championship this year, and they just competed and listened and learned. It was so fun coaching them. So again, not everyone here today, but we're going to call up our group here. So we have Oliver Paredes. Zach Perino. Good job. Remy Barrentos. Good job, Zach. Luis Albaran. Mikey Gilleran. Great job, Luis. And Gabe Whitaker. Great job, Gabe. We have 11 seniors this year, and I think we're, again, graduating probably 90-some% of our scoring, but it's amazing how this team just finds a way to win and done amazing things over the years. So great job. So proud of everything you guys accomplished this year. This is our 2024 Riverview Boys soccer team.
Also, we would like to recognize Ben Zielinski. He was awarded the 2024 Michigan High School Soccer Coaches Association Coaching and Excellence Award this past weekend. Over the last 24 seasons. If you don't know anything about Ben, Ben is the one that started our boys varsity program. We've only had one coach for our entire boys varsity program. And so over the last 24 seasons of his coaching career, he has amassed over 300 career wins. He has created a Z's Soccer Skill Zone camp that pretty much everybody, including our new varsity coach, girls coach, attended. And so he was able to deliver that to all of the athletes around the area. He has coached us to 8 Huron League titles, 9 district titles, and 1 regional title. And he has the best Irish accent anybody can find. And I always say this, every school district needs a Ben. And we're proud of him here. We're glad he was a Riverview Pirate. And if you don't know, Ben is actually stepping down after this year. So we'll miss him, but we'll try to fill his shoes as we move forward. So thank you so much, Coach. Love you, man. All right. Thank you. I'll hand it back over to Superintendent Hatzel.
Thank you, Coach DeBrano. Thank you, athletes. Are we doing anything else? We're good? I think we're back. You guys can go.
Yeah, I'll just announce it quickly. Next, we'll go on to our audit presentation. Jamie Rivette from Yao and Yao Accounting is with us tonight.
I know, darn it. I just cleaned the house.
Probably
Okay.
arrows.
Perfect, thank you. All right, well, my name is Jamie Rivette. I'm the audit partner at Yo and Yo CPAs, and I'm here tonight to present the audit results from your June 30th, 2024 audit. And I just want to start off by really talking about what the purpose of the audit is, and it's to provide an opinion on the financial statements. And the district is required by Michigan Department of Education to have an independent audit performed every year. The district was issued an unmodified opinion, which is the highest level of assurance offered, and it means there's no material modifications that need to be made to those financial statements. And I'd just like to point out that management are the ones that are responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of those financial statements in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. And then as your auditors, my team and I come in and audit that information presented. So on this slide, we have your balance sheet of your general fund and your non-major governmental funds. And just a few things I'll point out here is we do have $6.8 million in due from other governmental units, and that's really related to your state aid for July and August. That's about $6 million of that total. And then the rest of it is related to your federal grants and the money received from Wayne RESA that is coming in after year end, and that's about $803,000. You also have investments in the general fund of about $11.4 million as of June 30th, giving your total assets of $19.1 million. And then in the middle of the page there, we have your liabilities. A couple things I'll just mention here is we do have some accrued expenditures as well as accrued salaries payable. Those accrued expenditures are the benefits for your employees, which are related to health, dental, and vision insurance, as well as your accrued retirement of about 1.1 million, with your accrued salaries payable, which is really the time worked and earned by the employees that just haven't been paid as of June 30th, and that's about 1.7 million. So you have total liabilities in your general fund of about 6.4 million at June 30th. And then the bottom section there is your fund balance, and it is broken into a couple of different buckets. So we have some committed fund balance of about 20,000 for turf replacement, and then we have some assigned fund balance money for future projects and expenditures, and then you have unassigned fund balance of about 5.8 million at the end of the fiscal year. In that second column is your non-major governmental funds, so that's all your other funds of the district, which include your cafeteria fund, your student activities fund, your debt fund, and also the sinking fund is included in that column. Total assets are $2,042,000 with your total fund balance of about 1.9 million. So the next slide is on the revenue, expenditures, and changes in fund balance for these funds. And you can see general fund did increase the fund balance of a little over 5 million. And then your non-major governmental funds increased about 520,000 for the year. The general fund comparison to budget. So I like to break this out. In that first column is your original budget. So that's what the board adopted at the beginning of the fiscal year. So back in June of last year is when you adopted this budget. And that's based on the expectations of what you knew for your revenue and your expenditures at that time. And then we know throughout the year things change. You find out information from MDE or how much additional federal grants you might be getting, so then adjustments are made to that second column, which is your final budget. So that is your best guess closest to year end. And then the third column is what actually happened. So you can see the percent accurate there was about 97% accurate in your budgeting for your revenue as well as your expenditures. Now this slide is just a pie chart of your general fund revenue sources. It's showing where the revenue was coming from. I just think it's a little bit easier to look at this picture rather than trying to follow some numbers across on a page. And this does show that, obviously the majority of your revenue for your general fund is coming from state aid of about 80%, with your federal grants making up about 8% and your local dollars, which are property tax revenue and earnings on your investments of 7%. Now, similar slide here, but now we're focusing on the expenditures. So these are all the dollars going out of the district. And I'd just like to point out that your salaries and your employee benefits make up 76%, which also does not include some of your contracted employees. Those are required to be recorded up under your purchase services up there. So that total salaries and benefits plus your contracted employees would be closer to around 85% of your general fund expenditures being spent on your people, which is what you see at every district too. The majority of those expenditures are being spent on salaries and benefits. Here's the 5-year trend of just charting your revenue and expenditures for your general fund year over year, just to kind of show a picture too. So we did see an increase in revenue compared to last year. Most of it was related to an increase in your federal dollars of about 1.2 million, and that's related to the ESSER 3 funds that the district received, as well as an increase in some of the state grants of about 870,000 compared to last year. The lighter blue column here are the expenditures, and those were pretty flat. Compared to last year, we did have a slight increase. It's very common for districts to calculate what their percent of their fund balances compared to general fund expenditures. So this slide is showing that calculation. And MDE had a recommendation a few years ago that, they recommended a healthy fund balance to be between 15 to 20%. And you can see the district does have, 16%. So right within that range of what MDE would recommend to have as a healthy fund balance as of the end of the year. And in the top, we do just show what your peers are based on the state aid membership too. So in addition to auditing the financial statements, we're also required by the audit standards to gain an understanding of your internal controls, as well as do a compliance audit, because the district did receive and spend more than $750,000 in federal dollars. And so in doing that, we do walk through the key transaction cycles, and we did not identify any material weaknesses, significant deficiencies, or material noncompliance that need to be identified and noted here. For your federal awards, we did cover about 67% of your federal grants during our audit for our major programs, which were your Education Stabilization Fund, as well as your Special Education Cluster. Those are the two major programs that we tested. So again, happy to report we did not have any findings that we needed to report there. And then the last item that I have is related to the governance letter. So I know you all got a packet of information at your desk up there. So there is a letter that's slid into one of the packets, so I encourage you to read that. A couple things I'll just point out in there is there are some significant estimates in the financial statements that are required to be reported. Those are related to your other post-employment benefit obligation as well as your pension liability. And then we also have a significant estimate related to the useful lives of the capital assets. So when the district purchases a bus, we're estimating how long the bus is going to be in service and then amortizing and depreciating that over its useful life. And one comment that we had, which is a recommendation, and it's the same recommendation that we had last year. It is just related to what's in your food service fund, or cafeteria fund. At the end of the year that we did have a fund balance that exceeded 3 months of expenditure. So Michigan Department of Education has rules related to that, and I know the district has a spend down plan and has some bids in place to spend some of that money during this upcoming fiscal year. So that is a very common comment. I'd just like to point out that a lot of districts got, because over the last couple of years, the federal government had allowed a lot of the students at the districts over the last 2 years to have free lunch. So we had the increase in federal revenue coming in and not as much cost going out. So it did then build up that fund balance. So this is a common comment across many districts that MDE is very aware of, and they're allowing them to roll over the spend down plan too that MDE does approve. So you're on track with that and in compliance with that requirement. So my last slide is just a thank you. I just want to thank Lonnie and his team for all of his efforts. It's really nice to come out to an audit where the information's uploaded to our secure portal site so my team can get started. There were 3 of us, sometimes 4 of us here for about 4 days. Constantly bugging him and his team to get us information, and it really is a collaborative effort to get the audit done and out timely and uploaded to Michigan Department of Education. So I just wanted to thank him and his team for that, as well as you all for making those budget amendments. So you were, within 97% of your budget too on what actually happened. I know things change quickly sometimes, and we hear one thing, and then when it comes out from, whether it be from the state or federal government, we have to kind of act on the fly. So good job at making those adjustments as needed. Are there any questions that I could answer for you?
Okay, seeing no questions from board members, I just want to say thank you, Jamie, for the informative audit presentation and the good news and great work with our finance team regarding the financial state of our district. And also, I want to thank you for serving on your local Board of Education, your community. And I also want to thank Superintendent Hatzel, our Finance Director, Lonnie Draper, and our Finance and Accounting team, Lori Redding, and Shannon Fowler for their hard work year-round, careful and deliberative budgeting process to ensure our audit is successful and informative, and that our district is in the top-notch financial condition that we see today.
Thank you.
I want to wish you happy Thanksgiving and a safe drive back.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next, we'll go to guest and visitor comments for the 2-minute session. The purpose of the public participation portion of the meeting is to provide an opportunity for the citizens to share their thoughts with the board. Personal concerns are best handled through the proper channels. Any questions requiring investigation will be referred to the superintendent for consideration. Any guests and visitors with comments for the 2-minute session? Seeing none, we'll move on to item A57, acceptance of agenda. Do I have a motion?
President Board,
Vice President Dominski?
be it resolved, the Riverview Board of Education accepts the agenda for the November 26, 2024 regular meeting.
Motion by Vice President Dominski. Do we have support?
Support.
Supported by Treasurer Davis. Any discussion? Hearing none, Secretary Walker, roll call, please.
President Bohr,
Yes.
Vice President Dominski.
Yes.
Secretary Walker, yes. Treasurer Davis.
Yes.
Trustee Meeks.
Yes.
Trustee O'Brien.
Yes.
Trustee Toth.
Yes.
Next, we'll move on to item A58, consent grouping. Do I have a motion?
President Bohr,
Trustee Toth?
be resolved, the Riverview Board of Education accept the minutes of the October 2024 study session, the minutes of the October 2024 regular meeting, approve the check registers and purchase card expense reports, approve the individual contracts, approve the new varsity coach hires, and approve the wrestling team's overnight travel as all contained in the consent grouping.
Motion by Trustee Toth. Do we have support?
Support.
Supported by Trustee Meeks. Any discussion? Hearing none, Secretary Walker, roll call, please.
Secretary Walker, yes. Treasurer Davis.
Yes.
Trustee Toth.
Yes.
Trustee O'Brien.
Yes.
President Bohr.
Yes.
Vice President Dominski.
Yes.
Trustee Meeks.
Yes.
Next, we'll move on to board updates. Our RCHS student liaison, Ms. Selma Ibrahim. I want to thank her for coming in tonight on a day when there's no school tomorrow and there's a long weekend. Take it away, Selma.
Good evening, everyone. So November at RCHS has been stuffed. On November 1st, Student Council awarded Halloween costume contest winners with gift cards. All the costumes were awesome. Our winter sports are in full swing. Catch a game or meet this season. I'd like to congratulate Ms. Hicks's 4th hour class for donating 115 items to the Emerging Leaders Detroit Rescue Mission Project. On November 4th, another Emerging Leaders group visited Michigan House Senior Living Home right by the high school, and they painted pumpkins with seniors. It was a heartwarming event. Student Council hosted a canned food drive for Riverview Goodfellows to achieve a No Child Without a Christmas. On November 14th and 15th, Drama Club put on Done to Death. The hilarious murder mystery was so successful and full of talent. On November 7th, Mr. Hicks's Project Awareness Club put up a field of flags to honor veterans right outside on the Longsdorff entrance, and they raised $1,000 and hung up 96 flags. From November 11th to 15th, another Emerging Leaders group hosted a bake sale and partnered with Riverview Nutrition to help raise money for Rogel Cancer Center at University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. Spanish 3 explored Mexican Town this month, and they had a lovely time with Miss Meeks. And Miss Rebecca's chemistry class also had a field trip this month where they got to partake in action at Pirama Pharma Solutions and explore pharmaceutical science. On November 24th, Key Club members helped the Kiwanis Club put together Thanksgiving boxes for families in need. It was lovely. I'd like to congratulate all 66 new members of National Honor Society who were inducted on November 21st and wish them good luck in their new honorful endeavors. I'd also like to congratulate Mr. Piquel for winning Teacher of the Month. Well deserved. Very awesome guy. RCHS finals were yesterday and today. And RCHS and I would like to wish all families a safe and happy Thanksgiving and holidays and safe break. Thank you.
Thank you, Selma. Happy Thanksgiving to your family and a safe weekend, safe holiday break. Thank you. Next, we'll go to administrative comments, legislative reports. Superintendent Hatzel.
Yes, I'd like to start with reiterating my appreciation for our business team, Lonnie Draper, Shannon Fowler, and Lori Redding. They are a small but very polished and true professional group and often work behind the scenes but do a very important job, and Riverview's fortunate to have them as a team, so thank you. I also want to thank all of the citizens. We were able to pass the non-homestead millage as well as the Wayne County Enhancement Millage, which provide important supplemental funding to all Wayne County schools and to Riverview schools as well. So thank you for all of you who went out to vote. In that same vein, congratulations to Trustee Meeks, Trustee Toth, Treasurer Davis, and President Boer on their re-election. To this Board of Education, your hard work and dedication is appreciated by me, but your compassion is obviously also recognized by the community. So both professionally and as a resident myself, thank you very much for your service to the students and staff of Riverview. Legislatively speaking, we've obviously passed the election cycle, so it's a lame duck legislative season. So our plea is to legislators to hopefully not be hasteful with legislation going forward before the end of the year, especially regarding schools. Someone mentioned several of them, but across the district from grades kindergarten through 12th grade, we had quite a few fine arts presentations, whether it be drama, music, choir. Was able to see several of them, and so many of our kids did a wonderful job showcasing some of their talents. So thank you to those students, the families who supported, and those teachers that helped put those presentations together. Obviously, one of the things that is most heartwarming during this time of Thanksgiving is the true spirit that Riverview has for one another. And I want to thank all the families, the parent clubs, our student service groups who've teamed up with local charities to just provide and make sure that everybody in the area, and especially our Riverview families, are taken care of during the holiday season. So I would like to congratulate, most importantly, the staff and the students that were 1/3 of the way through. We've made it past trimester 1 today, so it's going fast, at least for me, but we've been very successful both inside the classroom and out. As we celebrated our fall teams today, we already have begun our winter sports season, so good luck to all those teams, and thank you for representing Riverview. And then finally, I want to say happy Thanksgiving to all of our families. We've got a nice elongated break here, so rest up, and we'll see you for the run in December. Go Pirates. Yes, also in our consent grouping, we approved a new contract, and we have one of our teachers here. We'd like to introduce actually a social worker, so our HR Ms. Jen Ekman will introduce our new employee and welcome her to Riverview.
Hi, it's my pleasure tonight to introduce our newest social worker, Stacy Wogan. She is a graduate of Wayne State University, where she received both her bachelor's degree and master's degree in social work. She has achieved the distinction of summa cum laude for both of those degrees. Stacy holds a limited license in social work from the state of Michigan. She brings an array of experience from working with students in both 4-H programs and most recently at Monroe Community College, where she worked with high school students, preparing them for entering into college first time in their family in the Upward Bound program. We're really looking forward to Stacy joining the Forest team as a new social worker, where her skills will be greatly put to use and needed. Thank you.
Next, we'll move on to item A59, acceptance of 2023-24 audit. Superintendent Hatzel, background, please.
Each year, the school district is required by law to have an independent auditing firm review its financial practices and overall financial condition. The firm of Yao & Yao performed this review. Jamie Rivette, CPA, has provided a brief public review of the audit and answered questions posed by the board. It is the recommendation of the superintendent and the director of business and finance that the Board of Education accept the audit report.
Thank you, Superintendent Hatzel. Do I have a motion?
President Bohr,
Secretary Walker?
be it resolved, the Riverview Board of Education accept the 2023-24 school year audit as presented by Yao & Yao.
Motion by Secretary Walker. Do I have support?
Support.
Supported by Vice President Dominski. Any discussion? Hearing none. Secretary Walker, roll call, please.
Trustee Meeks?
Yes.
Trustee O'Brien?
Yes.
President Bohr?
Yes.
Treasurer Davis?
Yes.
Trustee Toth?
Yes.
Vice President Dominski?
Yes.
Secretary Walker, yes.
Next, we'll move on to item A60, approve RCHS Spain 2026 trip. Superintendent Hatzel, background, please.
RCHS Spanish instructor Ms. Deb Meeks is planning a 10-day educational trip to Spain for interested high school students, departing on March 25, 2026, and returning April 3rd, 2026. The group will be traveling to several cities throughout Spain as outlined in the packet from ACIS. It is a recommendation of the superintendent and the high school principal that the Riverview Board of Education approve the 2026 educational trip to Spain for Ms. Meeks and her Spanish club members.
Thank you, Superintendent Hatzel. Do we have a motion?
President Bohr,
Trustee Meeks?
be it resolved that the Riverview Board of Education approves the educational trip to Spain in March of 2026 with Mrs. Meeks and the World Language Department to learn about Spanish culture, history, and people, as well as utilize their language skills as presented.
Motion by Trustee Meeks. Do we have support?
Support.
Supported by Trustee O'Brien. Any discussion? Hearing none. Secretary Walker, roll call, please.
Trustee Toth?
Yes.
Secretary Walker, yes. Trustee Meeks?
Yes.
President Bohr?
Yes.
Trustee O'Brien?
Yes.
Treasurer Davis?
Yes.
Vice President Dominski?
Yes.
Next, we'll move on to item A61, authorize insulin litigation contract. Superintendent Hatzel, background, please.
Entities nationwide have recently started joining a nationwide lawsuit against various insulin manufacturers, pharmacy benefit managers, and other defendants accused of artificially inflating insulin prices at the expense of employers and health plan entities, specifically case number 223-03080 in the United States District Court for the District of New Jersey. It is the recommendation of the Director of Business and Finance and the Superintendent that Riverview joins in this litigation against the insulin manufacturers, pharmacy benefit managers, and other defendants accused of artificially inflating insulin prices at the expense of employers and health plan entities.
Thank you, Superintendent Hatzel. Do I have a motion?
President Bohr,
Trustee O'Brien.
be it resolved, the Riverview Board of Education decided to join the lawsuit on the terms specified in the attorney-client fee contract, and the board authorizes and directs the superintendent or designee to sign the attached attorney-client fee contract on behalf of the entity and to take such other action necessary to obtain monetary damages and injunctive relief for the entity in the lawsuit, subject to review by the entity's legal counsel. Let it also be resolved all resolutions and parts of resolutions that conflict with the provisions of this resolution are rescinded.
Motion by trustee O'Brien. Do we have support?
Support.
Supported by trustee Toth. Any discussion? Vice Secretary Walker, roll call, please.
Trustee O'Brien.
Yes.
Secretary Walker, yes. Trustee Meeks.
Yes.
President Bohr.
Yes.
Treasurer Davis.
Yes.
Trustee Toth.
Yes.
Vice President Dominski.
Yes.
Next, we'll move on to board first reading policy updates and changes. Item A62, Superintendent Hatzel, background, please.
Miller Johnson completed an audit of our Board of Education bylaws and policies and our administrative guidelines and made the recommendation for amendments, additions, and updates. The administrative guidelines have been updated and provided. It is the recommendation of the superintendent and that the Miller Johnson audit of the Board of Education bylaws and policies, including amendments, additions, and updates, be accepted by the full board. Such acceptance to be deemed to constitute a first reading. Further modification and update to be placed on the agenda of the next regular scheduled board meeting for a second and third reading and final adoption.
Thank you, Superintendent Hatzel. Do I have a motion?
President Bohr,
Trustee Meeks.
be it resolved, the Riverview Board of Education accepts for the purposes of a first reading the amendments, additions, and updates completed by Miller Johnson after their annual audit of our Board of Education bylaws and policies under and our administrative guidelines as presented.
Motion by Trustee Meeks. Do we have support?
Support.
Supported by Vice President Dominski. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Secretary Walker, roll call, please.
Trustee Toth.
Yes.
Vice President Dominski.
Yes.
Trustee Meeks.
Yes.
Trustee O'Brien.
Yes.
Secretary Walker, yes. Treasurer Davis.
Yes.
President Bohr.
Yes. Next, we'll move on to item A63, approve forest HVAC unit purchase. Superintendent Hatzel, background, please.
The existing 30-year-old forest rooftop HVAC units are at the end of their useful life and have been unreliable. We have successfully replaced 2 of the 5 units in the past summer and still need to replace the last 3 units. With a long lead time for the equipment, we need to ensure delivery by July 2025. Our plan is to have these units replaced over the summer. After reviewing the quotes, it is a recommendation of the Director of Operations, Gary Kennedy, and the Director of Finance, Lonnie Draper, that Thermonetics be awarded the order for a sum not to exceed $689,100.
Thank you, Superintendent Hatzel. Do I have a motion?
President Bohr,
Vice President Dominski.
be it resolved that the Riverview Board of Education award Thermonetics the order for 3 new rooftop HVAC units for Forest Elementary through Omnia, contract number R200401, for a sum not to exceed $689,100.
Motion by Vice President Dominski. Do we have support?
Support.
Supported by Trustee Toth. Any discussion? Hearing none. Secretary Walker, roll call, please.
President Bohr.
Yes.
Secretary Walker, yes. Trustee Meeks.
Yes.
Trustee Toth.
Yes.
Vice President Dominski.
Yes.
Trustee O'Brien.
Yes.
Treasurer Davis.
Yes.
Next, we'll move on to guest and visitor comments for the 5-minute session. Any guests and visitors here with comments for the 5-minute session? Next, we'll move on to items for discussion presented by board members concerning which no action can be taken. Any items for discussion?
President Bohr.
Trustee Toth?
I would like to point out that our 3 elementary schools have been participating in, they've all come together to support an organization called the Hannah's Care Packages. They've collected items for families of children who are hospitalized, and they have collected enough items to prepare about 80 packages for this organization, and about 80 families have signed up to as volunteers to pack the care packages, and the families from all three schools have donated the items. I think it's a great work that that our three elementary schools have been doing with this nonprofit around the holidays.
Thank you, Trustee Toth, for that heartwarming information. Any other items for discussion? I just, too, want to, on behalf of the board, give a heartfelt appreciation to our residents, businesses, and voters for the overwhelming support for the two millage renewals on our November ballot, those being the non-homestead operating millage and the Wayne Risa enhancement millage. We appreciate the community recognizing these two millages are a key part of our budget and educational programming for the success of our pirates. Again, thank you again to the families, the voters, and the businesses for the ongoing support. And I also want to thank Superintendent Hatzel and our administration and staff for getting the word out in the form of newsletters, parent clubs, email, local newspapers, and our school website, such that the community was fully informed for their voting decisions. And I also want to thank our board members who signed up and were successfully reelected for another 4 years, Trustee Meeks, Trustee Toth, and Treasurer Davis. I appreciate their dedication and their unwavering pursuit of excellence for our kids, staff, and administration. It's a privilege and an honor to serve with them and to work with Superintendent Hatzel, the administration, and staff to ensure our kids get the best education for their futures and to ensure that our district continues to be a shining source of pirate pride for our community. Finally, I would just want to wish everyone here a happy Thanksgiving and enjoy time with your families. And I wish you safe travels if you're driving or flying to your holiday gatherings. Next, we'll move on to future business. Our December study session will be on Monday, the 16th at 6:30 p.m. at RCHS, and the regular meeting for December will be here in City Hall on Tuesday, the 17th, beginning at 7 p.m. Next, we'll need a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Motion by Vice President Dominski. Do we have support?
Support.
Supported by Trustee Meeks. Any discussion? Hearing none. Secretary Walker, roll call, please.
President Bohr?
Yes.
Vice President Dominski?
Yes.
Secretary Walker, yes. Treasurer Davis?
Yes.
Trustee Meeks?
Yes.
Trustee O'Brien?
Yes.
Trustee Toth?
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. Meeting adjourned 7:54.